Hello everyone, I'm Colin from Colin's Punk Rock World and CPRW Record, and welcome to episode 13 of the CPRW podcast. Today I'm joined by three very special guests. We've got Beth, who sings and plays bass for Glasgow Pop Punk's 10am and has a new solo project called Flinch. And we got Callum, who sings and plays guitar in Bristol's Toodles and the Hectic Pity, who released a great album on Specialist Subject last year, or EP. Album, EP, 6 songs. Is it 6 songs? I can't remember now.
It's 5 songs.
5 songs. Well, that's an EP then. Confirmed. Right, and we've got Jack, who sings in London, Kent, ska punk's Just Say Nay, who also released one of my favourite ska punk albums of the last couple of years ago.
Oh, thanks. Kind.
Thanks for everyone turning up today. Today we're going to play fantasy festivals, but first, how is everyone?
Not too bad.
Could be worse.
I've been enjoying listening to Beth and Callum, to your musics today. As I've been doing my errands, I've been listening to both of your stuff, and I've enjoyed it very much. I wish the line, Callum, in your song in Ducks, Frozen Lake and Homeless Duck. That's one of those lines I was listening to. Go, damn! I wish I'd written that line. That's a killer. That's a good one.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I saw you guys play, and heard it. I was like, I think I said to Charlotte next to me, like, that's a line, that's killer. Oh, shut up.
Awesome, thanks. That's what you want, isn't it? Make other people envious.
Yeah. How dare you?
So the next Just Say Nay album, should we expect some lyrics about ducks?
I'm gonna leave. No, I'm gonna respectfully leave the duck market to Callum there. Yeah.
Fair enough. But I always mean to ask this on these podcasts, but always forget. So I've written it down today because I'm getting better. What have you all been listening to lately?
Go ahead.
Been listening to a band called Bonnie Doon, which is like this kind of like country band that was based around one of the people in the state lottery. I've only just discovered them recently as well, but they're really good.
Nice. Beth?
I've been doing a new discovery as well. I recently found the singer Sydney Gish. Like, Spotify just suggested her to me, and I've had the album on repeat, like, pretty much consistently for the last 3 days. It's really good.
Nice.
RX Bandits, still. Just over and over. RX Bandits. Yeah. I can never get enough RX Bandits.
I've been listening to them quite a lot lately because next week me and Paul and Lara and Michael are doing a. Did you ever any of you listen to the podcast we did where we did like the best first songs?
Oh yes.
So next week we're recording a best last songs one. So I've been listening to a lot of like last songs, which means a lot of songs I've been listening to lately have just been really long because everyone seems to leave the longest song for the last. So it's been good though. It's been good. Right, so yeah, like I said, today we're playing fantasy festivals. If you have written the rules down. If you don't know what the rules are, they are as follows. Let me find them. It's the wrong app. Oh, I'm doing well. Why are all apps the same colour? There we go. Right, so the fantasy festivals. The festival needs a name and a venue. It should be in sort of a smallish 350 cap DIY venue. The festival must consist of 8 bands plus an after party band. And it follows these next rules, which are the headliner must be like far too big for the venue. So if I did one where I picked the Descendants to play at New Cross Inn, would just be ridiculous. And then you've got like maximum for 1 band from North America. At least 1 band that features someone who doesn't identify as a man. At least 1 band that features a person of colour or people of colour, and a band that's formed in the last 2 or 3 years. So this was originally just 2 years, but obviously last year doesn't count anymore. We'll go for 3 years. And then a band that's reuniting, a band from mainland Europe because fuck Brexit, and an acoustic act, and the after party band should be a cover set. And it should be one that's not been done before. So you couldn't have the Burnt Tapes being the Menzingers, for example. So yeah, they be the rules. Like, we've got all these rules in place just to encourage diversity, because like punk is supposed to be an inclusive thing, and it is getting better, but there's still a lot of work to be done on that. So like, I like the idea of just going to a gig or an all day where it's not just majority straight white man. So it'd be amazing to see like more diverse lineups with people who are like from different genders, sexualities, and ethnicities, and also all different sort of types of music as well, rather than just going to a gig and it all just being gruff punk or like pop or ska. Just have a mix of everything. I think that's the way you can like make the scene grow and get better in the future. So yeah, that's why we sort of got the rules in. Actually, I think Jack, the last time I saw you was for the MPF thing at Signature Brew.
Yeah.
Which that was a really good, like, diverse, like, sounding lineup. And like one of my, I mean, we didn't go to that many gigs last year, but that was probably one of my favorite of the year, just because of the difference. That you obviously had Just Say Nay, ska punk, KEMS, more of a folk punk act, Drones, just sort of straight punk rock, Play with Glover, acoustic, and what was the other one? Follow Your Dreams.
It was Follow Your Dreams, yeah.
Hardcore band. So I really like. You need more gigs like that, I think.
Yeah, that show was aimed because we'd done the it was around or on around International Women's Day. So we'd been invited by Tree and the MPF guys for the women in Just Say Nay to go and brew this beer. So at the show afterwards, every band had women in the band as a focal point, and yeah, they had a great time.
It did look like a lot of fun. Like,
yeah.
I mean, as someone who doesn't drink, I was just like, oh, that looks like a really fun thing to day out and to do, just to go and see how the beer's made and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's the second time they've done that as well. So it's good that they continue to do that.
It was great, and now I feel like an absolute advert. So I'm drinking a signature brew beer, as I'm sat as I'm sat here.
Is that an MPF hoodie as well?
Well, oh damn! Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was the year that never happened.
That's sad. Next year, yeah. I've lost track of whatever year we're in now. It's ridiculous, but
who cares?
Yeah, right. So let's start playing the game, I guess. Who wants to go first?
You pick, Colin.
Oh, okay. We'll go alphabetical. So Beth.
The story of my life. Every time, do it by first name I'm first. Do it by last name I'm first.
I just love the alphabet. So.
Yeah. Are we doing headliner first, or are we doing first?
No, start with your opener, and then when we get to like your penultimate one, then we'll try and guess who you've got as the headliner.
Of course.
I will write this down, so I will make a playlist.
Nice. So I've gone a bit vain, and I've called my fest Beth Fest.
Nice.
And not only that, I've booked one of my own bands to be the openers. Just because, well, why have I done that? Because I wanted to, mostly, but also because we lost so much of last year, and you wanted a band that had only been around for 2 or 3 years. So my band, Grave Matthews.
Another band?
Oh God, I've got too many bands. But Grave Matthews released an EP, and then our drummer broke his neck, and then the whole world went into a global pandemic. So we didn't get a very good start. So I've decided we're going to open this festival.
Are they okay?
Yeah, they're great. It's been a year since he broke his neck, almost exactly a year, and he's back playing drums and walking about. So
excellent.
All things considered, it's pretty good.
What do Grave Matthews sound like? Because I'll assume that most people won't have heard of them.
Most people wouldn't have, because we were born into a world where there was no gigs. So we sound like an emo band.
Okay.
Like is 2 guitars, a bass. I play keys, which is a bit different, and drums, obviously. And yeah, kind of emo-y, Tiger's Jaw, kind of sad music.
Nice. Everyone loves sad music.
Of course. So yeah, that's my opening, the opening act for Beth Fest.
Right, who's next? I know, Def, you need to get your. We go through the whole lineup.
Oh, the whole one. Okay, I was
Yeah.
waiting for somebody else to have a shot. Okay, after that, I would like Snail Mail to play, who are sort of 90s kind of. They're not from the 90s. I mean, she's younger than me, the girl from Snail Mail, but kind of 90s inspired indie rock from Maryland. This was a kind of rogue choice because I needed somebody to fill the bill, and I've been listening to a lot of Snail Mail recently, really into it. And then I want my reunion band to play next. That'd be Nye Harvest, another emo band from Sheffield, and they're like the first band that came to mind when I was thinking like, what band would I want to do a reunion? And I don't know why I decided to choose like a small band from the UK and not like, I could have asked for the Spice Girls or something to come back and reunite, but do you know, Nye Harvest was what I wanted, so that's what I've chosen.
I've heard of the Blows, but I don't know if I've ever listened to them before. I probably should.
Yeah, you should. I really like them. They weren't around for not very long.
Yeah.
But they were sort of like early 2000 or like 2010-ish was when I found them. And it was like just as I started going to gigs and like properly finding the music that I really liked. So whenever I think of like what a good nostalgic reunion, I always want Nye Harvest on the go. So that's
Awesome.
them. And then next I'd have First Aid Kit. I really, really struggled to find a band from mainland Europe. I just could not do it, apart from First Aid Kit. So they're on the bill now. And I'm going to go away and do my homework and learn some more.
Are there some fantastic bands over there?
I'm sure. Although I did, once I decided on First Aid Kit, I did realise that one of my other bands, Slowlight, played a weekender with Switchbones, who are from, where are they from? The Netherlands, I think. So I maybe should have chosen them, but that's the only other band I could think of from mainland Europe. But yeah.
Where are First Aid Kit from?
Sweden, I think.
Okay.
Because I was going to choose Sigur Rós from Iceland, but then I'm not even sure if Iceland counts as mainland Europe, because it's not mainland.
No. Who knows? I've not thought that sort of hard on the rules, but
I didn't want to get disqualified halfway through for breaking the rules. So played it safe, gone for Sweden. After First Aid Kit, I would like Crywank to play. They're sort of anti-folk band from Manchester. They would fill the acoustic quota of the rules, and also are just great, so they'd be next. And then after that, I want Illuminati Hotties to play, who are a band from LA, I think, and they're they released an album in 2020, and I think it's called something like The Album You Didn't Want or something like that, and it's just a proper punk record. All their other stuff is like kind of poppy, and then they've just landed this punk record and I love it. It's so good. And they're the sort of band of a female singer-songwriter, so that fills the female fronted or the female quota, although there's actually lots of females here, but that was the reason for picking them. And then the second last band on the bill would be Mint Green, who are a kind of pop punk band from Boston, I think.
I think so, yeah. They were on one of our CPRW records comps last year.
They're great. I really like them a lot.
So now we have to try and guess your headliner. Well, I'm stumped. Any idea?
Well, I'll give you a clue. For the reason that I chose this headliner was because I desperately need gigs to come back, and I want to stand in a sweaty room and scream lyrics to a song, or scream lyrics to songs that me and all my pals know really well.
So they're a Scottish band.
Oh, they're not Scottish.
Oh, they're not Scottish.
They're huge.
They're huge. There are huge Scottish bands.
That's true. There's at least 2.
There's 4 people in Goodbye Blue Monday.
That's true.
A huge band, UK based.
Huge singer, not UK based. Oh, this is the one from North America.
Okay.
I haven't had a North American yet.
Where are Illuminati Hotties from?
LA, is that North America?
Yes.
No.
Mm.
Okay, American band, huge. Menzingers? They're a good sing-along band.
Is it an emo band or a punk band or?
Pop. It's really a singer rather than a band. Female, because it's Beth Fest. You have to have a female as the headliner.
Hayley Williams?
No, but close.
Avril Lavigne?
Yes.
There we go. I win. I hear
That's a
she
good
has
headliner.
a new album out soon.
Is she? Oh, that's great news.
I've heard. I think I was talking to her about her with my friends the other day, and she was sort of saying like how important Avril Lavigne was in her discovering like pop punk and then punk music,
Yeah, me
which
too.
is really cool. I mean, Avril Lavigne gets a lot of hate from punk, but she's opened a lot of doors.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So
Yeah, she's sort of the gateway drug to punk.
yeah, definitely. Has you got your cover band now then?
Oh yes, my cover band is a made-up band that doesn't exist, but they're called Jenny Eat World, and they're a Jimmy Eat World cover band, but all women instead of all men.
Nice. Have you got members in mind to do the roles, or
No, I hadn't actually thought that far.
can you do it off the top of your head, or is that just too much pressure?
God, who would I want it to be? Maybe I would just pick some of the women from the lineup. So
Yeah.
let's have Ronica from Mint Green and me and Lindsay from Snail Mail and whatever the name of the lead singer of Illuminati Hotties is. I can't remember her name.
Excellent.
'Cause I'm
I
sure
would-
we'll be sufficiently drunk by the end of the day to do a good old cover set at the end of a festival.
Yeah, I think a cover set is mostly a drunken affair anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Where's Beth Fest taking place as well?
I think in Audio, which is a venue in Glasgow. Glasgow has, so the reason I chose Audio is because I'm really into disability, accessibility things in music, and there are no accessible venues anywhere, but Audio is accessible. But it's not quite a 350 cap. It's probably only maybe 150 most.
Oh, that's fine. That's even Avril Lavigne in a 150 cap venue. Wow. Wow. I can see that selling out far too quickly. That sounds. I think I'd come along to that. I love coming out to Scotland as well. So that's another reason.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I'll get on to Avril Lavigne now.
Yeah, I'm sure she can. That's affordable. Well, imagine how much that would cost to get Avril Lavigne to do an 150 venue.
I would die. I would just me from 15 years ago would be so overwhelmed at the thought of Avril Lavigne playing in a tiny venue. Would just die.
For you also, I miss small venues. I miss all venues, but I miss small venues. Excellent. So Beth Fest, that sounds like a great time. There's some new bands for me to check out there as well, which is cool. This is something I was quite excited about doing this podcast with you three, because I don't know any of your musical tastes that well. Like we did it when we did it with Paul from B Sharp. Like I could guess every single band because I talk to him about music near enough every day. So, right, awesome. Right, Callum, you're next. What have you got? Oh, actually,
Okay.
before you start, Callum, because we're on.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, we're on proper Zoom today, where we don't have to stop every now and then. But we'll squeeze some adverts in. Jack, what are JSN up to?
Hibernating and like the rest of the world, but we're writing new music. Most importantly, kind of from our homes and sending bits back and forth to each other and things like that. But we've got a few from when we could rehearse. There's a fair few in the tank anyway. Ready enough for when there's gigs again. People will be able to hear those tunes.
Awesome.
And some new merch coming soon enough. We've sent a brief off to an artist for some new merchandise. So we're doing the general band admin bits that bands do in order to continue to be a band as best we can.
Feel like you're doing something.
Yeah, arguing over Facebook Messenger with each other. And
That must be chaos with you guys, because there's about 100 people in Just Say Nay.
yeah, it's mental. People, this comes up a lot. I've done a few like podcast bits and bobs, and the amount of members always comes up, and I can't tell you how many people are in Just Say Nay. Too many.
Everyone.
But yeah. Even making t-shirts and things like that gives me an anxiety attack. Oh God, there's going to be an idea, someone's going to hate it, and then and then it's going to go back and forth, and 6 months later, no t-shirts.
That would be a disaster.
So that goes.
Right. So anyway, like Callum, back to you. Callum, tell us about your fantasy festival.
Okay. It is called Pity Party.
Nice.
And it is going to be at Club I Fall Back in Cardiff.
Okay.
Some people call Welsh Club. It's a really good venue. I was going to just do it at the Exchange, but I thought
you were going to do it at the Exchange.
Yeah, well, I just figured, like, actually, if this is like an actual festival I'm going to go to, I want to go to a venue I haven't been to in ages,
Yeah.
So I figured, like, that's like a little trip, go to Wales, 'cause I haven't gone to Wales, for the best part of the year. And just thought that would be a good idea. And yeah, it's just a nice venue.
Nice. I don't think I've ever been to a gig in Wales.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Cardiff is it's like there were plenty of really decent venues, and quite a few of them are closed down. But I think the Welsh Club does kind of need the support and attention at the moment, and also that street that it's on, Wetherspoons keeps attempting to open a hotel on it. So I think that street of venues is like quite under threat constantly.
Okay.
So it's like looking a bit grim in Cardiff for gigs, but hopefully.
Is there a way we can support them then before?
I don't know, actually. I feel like
happens?
The reason I thought of Welsh Club was because they had put something online saying that there was some way that you can support them. So I'm sure if people look into it, they can find a way of supporting them.
Awesome.
Most music venues are doing crowdfunders at the moment via Music Venue Trust, I think. So
yeah.
But yeah, actually, one of my favourite venues in Cardiff, Goody Hoo, closed a year or two ago just because like the landlord decided to sell the building, which is a bit rubbish.
Oh, that's horrible. Like without venues, none of this happens. So
yeah, exactly. So gotta hold on to them. But yeah, anyway, so that's where it's going to be.
Yep.
And my opening act is going to be Triple Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know, they're a London-based, pop punk bands, I guess. So you describe them?
Yeah, I guess so. Melodic.
And we did that weekend for Do It Together Fest this time last year, or just before this time last year.
You did?
I guess it would have been end of January. And they're a great band. And I just think I was just like jostling around the lineup, and I thought Triple Sunday are a good opening band because they get hyped, and they're really like good performers, I think.
Yeah. I was at Do It Together Fest. And I remember, like, because I was like Sarah Williams, who's also like a massive Triple Sunday fan. She was looking after the tombola. I said, like, you go watch Triple Sunday. I'm going to see them 100 times this year. I'm always a New Cross. And then obviously the world broke and I didn't get to see them.
Yeah.
It was like, my selflessness has backfired.
Yeah. But that was like, I genuinely was just like super stoked to see them all 3 nights of that weekender because I just think they're great.
Yeah, fantastic band. They should be like a household name in like the punk scene in this country, I think. Like Hassan's songwriting is amazing.
Yeah, and I felt a little bit bad doing them as the opener actually, because like even though it's like a festival that doesn't exist, I was like, oh, it's a bit mean given that they're my friends. But like I just think that like you don't put like the worst or smallest band at the beginning. You put like a decent like crowd draw.
Yeah, someone is going to bring people in. Yeah,
that gets people going. Yeah, so that's my reasoning there. The second band on the lineup is going to be Hamburger, which kind of fulfills the new band description because they've only been around for about a year. They put out their EP on Special Subject in December or November of last year, but I think it only just kind of the physical record has only really just arrived, and I think they only formed and started. They've only played 2 or 3 gigs before the pandemic started, so they're very, very new and very good.
What are they like?
Sort of like,
Go on.
like I guess like quite Elliott Smith-esque. There's definitely some Elliott Smith inspiration in there, and some like garden centre vibes. Quite hard to describe, I think. They're like I think they're a 6-piece. They got 3
Six?
vocalists, and it's like quite like twee pop singing style.
Okay.
Yeah, very like chilled out music, but I think really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely worth a listen. Yeah, and I think that they had like less than 100 likes on Facebook before their record came out, but they were definitely. It was definitely like everyone who was putting them on lineups and were trying to get them gigs and putting out the record was just like, this band deserves to be really big, even though no one's heard of them. So the third band is going to be Rebecca Reinhardt, who's I think is from Sweden, but it looks like she's kind of, I've just been reading her bio, kind of from all over. So has lived in Germany, lived in France, lived in the UK, and her band toured with Dog Eyed a year or 2 ago. And they kind of remind me quite well. I really, really enjoyed seeing them. I saw them in Bristol at Crofters Rights, which used to be the Croft Club. And they have like a very like Rat Boys vibe. So yeah, excellent band. And she's a really, really great songwriter as well. But I really struggled to find bands from mainland Europe, to be totally honest. And I only just thought of her this morning, whilst I was kind of like going through releases that I've been listening to the last couple of years.
Oh, we need to get you guys some homework just to go and look at Europe.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, I felt like we were supposed to be touring Europe over the summer last year, and I felt like that would have been good. Like, oh, let's go and meet some people and see some bands and stuff, and that would have done the trick for me. But like, obviously that didn't happen.
But I think there's a thing like with like in the UK, like we'll listen to like obviously English music, and we'll go west and look at America. We don't necessarily go the other way unless we go all the way to like Australia.
Yeah, I definitely found like within the confines of putting this festival together, I struggled with not choosing loads and loads of American bands because like, I feel like that's all I listen to, and also like then the only other thing I could really think of was a lot of Australian bands, which is fine to choose.
Yeah,
I mean it mean they have to pay them quite a lot if they want to fly over here to Wales and play, but yeah, I definitely need to be doing more homework for European bands. But yeah, she is definitely worth listening. And so the band after that I chose is Cosmit, which is a supergroup which includes Max from Toodles on drums, and Jeremy from Austeros as the singer. It's got Kay from Special Subject on bass, and Steve from Austeros on guitar, and who else? Oh, and Erica Fries as a guitar player as well. And they're fantastic. I think they're really great. They're like garage punk mixed with kind of northern soul singing style. And we put out a 7-inch a year or so ago, and supported us at our launch party for our record in March last year, which is the last gig we ever played. So they're just really, really fun, and they're just like churning out bangers constantly. Like I think they've got another 7-inch or another EP on the go, just kind of waiting to see when that's going to come out.
Oh wow, awesome.
Yeah, they're just a good band. And again, like I don't think that they have. Well, it's hard to get much attention when you've only got 3 songs on Spotify, but it's like they are 3 killer songs,
Yeah, I think obviously because they released that just as the world broke as well, like people's attention was obviously elsewhere.
Yeah. Although I think they sold through their 7-inch within like 2-3 months, something like that. So it's 300 copies.
That's good effort.
Yeah, it's good effort. So yeah, they are great. And almost like so good it makes me worried because Max is obviously playing drums in their band. So for like a while I was like, oh, he's going to have divided loyalties. But it doesn't really. You can't have divided loyalties when you're not doing shows. So that's all right.
Well, and when you are doing shows, then I guess if Cosmit are playing a show, like, oh, we may as well play as well because Max is already here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Is
you know,
that-
getting Max into a venue at the right time on the right day is like hard enough. So we may as well put the effort to get two bands out of the situation.
Excellent work.
Yeah. He actually, I had to ring his mum last week because he just like was not responding to his messages at all, and we had band practice, and I was like, oh man, I just know he's asleep. So I gave her a ring which I often have to do, and yeah, he was asleep 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, I miss being asleep in the afternoon. Those were the days.
Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah. It's hard to stay angry at him because I was just like, oh, I probably needed it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next band is, well, this is acoustic act, Angie Mcmahon. She's Australian, and yeah, really great Australian singer-songwriter. I don't know if she actually has a band or not. I think the only stuff that I've listened to has been acoustic. I'm just having a look now. But yeah, again, I was kind of struggling to choose an acoustic band, but I thought that choosing her from Australia would be a good, well, doing acoustic at that point in the lineup is like a good breath of fresh air, and also having someone from so far away is just like, you know, if I can choose all of the bands that I'm going to have at this festival, I may as well like be like, oh, I'm not constrained by budget.
Yeah. It's fantasy. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, she's definitely worth checking out. And then the next band was going to be Dog Eyed, which are a Bristol-based project from Harriet Elder and Tim from Wonows and Minty from Caves, and they are really great.
Sounds like another supergroup.
They basically are a supergroup.
Yeah.
I don't think Harriet had been in any bands before that I'm aware of, but yeah, she's the sort of songwriting force behind Dog Eyed, and they are really, really great. And I've also listened to some stuff that they're releasing soon, and it sounds absolutely amazing.
Are they a specialist subject band as well?
They are, yeah.
Of course. Bristol.
Yeah, that's how it. I think it was like that. She basically ran the cafe at the Exchange for a while, and then got into gigging in Bristol through that, and then was basically just got exposed to Andrew and Kay via that, and again, I think was very not well known before they picked up their record, and I think that their record is amazing.
Sweet.
Very like heart on your sleeve, emotional songwriting, I think. And so I thought that was just like went with the vibe of Pity Party as a festival.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like good fun.
Yeah. Okay. So the one below the headliner is going to be a Spook School reunion.
Oh, fantastic.
So they're Scottish band, absolutely amazing. And I feel like I only actually saw them once before they broke up as well, and that was at the breakup tour, like, you know, the goodbye tour. And I just thought that they were incredible, and I'd been listening to them for years and years as well. Like, I think they were actually one of the first vinyl records that I bought, 5 or 6 years ago. And yeah, I think that I feel like they would come back together for like one off set as well. I don't think that that's like they're completely estranged from each other. I think it's just like, kind of called it a day. So like if we can offer them big bucks, I reckon that's a good one.
We can. Money's not an issue with these festivals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we're getting Avril Lavigne playing 150 capacity thing. We can get the Spook School.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and also they're just a really good fun band to watch.
I think I only saw them once. At a Book Your Own Fest in, I forget when now, but I'd never really listened to them before, and I sort of walked into the room as they were playing, and just the crowd was just going nuts.
Yeah, it was like, I didn't think they were that big, but at the goodbye tour, they were at the Exchange, which is 250 cap, and that was sold out, I think, which I was quite surprised by. I guess, when people are breaking up, you just like make the effort to go out and see them. Yeah, definitely.
So we've got to try and guess your headliner.
Yeah, I think this is like, so I haven't done a North American band yet, so this band is from North America. And I feel like people who know me reasonably well know my music taste. Just like already got this. But,
I was talking to Emma about this earlier. Like, who do you think Callum will pick as his headliner? And I'm guessing, is it Mountain Goats?
it is the Mountain Goats.
Yeah. Emma
like,
knows you well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's just like on brand, isn't it? I feel like I'd be failing if I didn't choose them. But also, again, it's like they are way too big for Welsh Club. They're not like miles too big, because I think I saw them at like 800 or 1,000 capacity venue in London a year or two ago. So it's not like just completely unheard of. But it definitely is too big for Welsh Club. Yeah, and for people who don't know, they're like very varying band. They've got 19 albums from Durham in North Carolina, and like from doing these concept albums about the Bible and doing these kind of like lo-fi albums that they just recorded on boombox machines. It's like just completely opposite ends of the spectrum every time they do a record, and I think they're amazing.
How long have they been
And
going?
also I keep like
19
getting
albums.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And they also released like I think 3 albums in the course of like a year and a half, over the last year and a half, because they had one album they put out called In League with Dragons, concept album. And then they put out like a lockdown album, which was just recorded straight to boombox. And then they had another record called Getting Into Knives come out only about a year after that. So it was just like a really short period of really intense productivity from them, despite, again, not being able to tour or anything like that.
That's amazing. That's amazing work.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of like, it's one of those bands where it's like, I'm really into them, obviously, but I still haven't given all of their records, or even the majority of their records, like a really good like giving it loads and loads of attention. So I do just kind of every now and again will just buy one, and then I'm just learning like, oh yeah, I haven't heard this before, I haven't really listened to this. And you know, bands that have that many records that are really good quality, you can just like pace them out a little bit, like how I used to do with like the Sandman graphic novels. It was just like, oh, I just buy one every 6 months, and then that would be like, you know, I just like save it for myself as like a little treat.
Yeah, I just can't.
So that's what I do with the Mountain Goats.
Yeah. My worry with like if a band I really liked was putting out 3 albums in a year, I'd be like, is the quality still gonna be there?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, there's definitely a lot of debate around whether they like what albums of theirs are worth listening to and what aren't, because there are a lot of people who really like their kind of like when it was just John Darnielle and a boombox recording these really like, you know, writing an album within the course of 7 days and recording it straight away and that kind of thing. And there are people who are really religiously into that, which obviously I am. But I do think that all their albums that I've listened to so far have a lot of merit. There's definitely some stinkers in terms of songs I don't like, but I do think that they like push themselves. Like when Goss came out, which is 3 or 4 albums ago, that was, a lot of people didn't like that because there wasn't any guitars on it. It was just like, oh, we're just gonna take a deep break from that and be like and just do like a very piano focused out. And it's really, really good because it's just like that's what happens when you get a songwriter and loads of talented musicians and be like, let's put loads of different constraints on this next project rather than just like try and write something that we've done before. So yeah, you got to respect it.
Awesome.
A lot of people won't like it, but I definitely think that they're interesting.
I think I know one of their songs, and I think I know it from The Walking Dead. I can't even remember what it's called, but I feel like I should go listen to a Mountain Goats album. There's clearly plenty to choose from. Yeah,
there's plenty to choose from, which can be a bit like overwhelming. And I know Dom, who's in our band, is like the Mountain Goats, but it's like he said that he never sits down and listens because he finds them intimidating because of how many albums they've got. But you know, you just need you only need to listen to one. You don't have to listen to all.
Okay, awesome. And who's playing your cover set?
So I'm going to choose Martha to do an ABBA cover set, which I just think would go down well. I think if people are drunk as well, that's just like, ABBA have got so many bangers.
Yes.
And I just feel like Martha would do a really good job of that. I knew that I was going to choose Martha to do something, but it took me ages to figure out what. And I just went like, let's just not choose something that's anything remotely like Martha. Let's just do something like poppy and fun.
That would be ridiculous. I'd pay to go to your gig just for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I'll come in for Triple Sunday as well. They're my friends. So.
Yeah. So I think that's like fairly solid lineup in my opinion. I mean, I would go to it obviously, but
yeah, seems quite varied as well.
Yeah, as I said, I struggle to choose non-American bands because I just feel like that's all I'm listening to. But then, yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, America is a very, very big place, so it has a lot more bands to choose from.
Yeah, very true.
Which I guess is partly why our scene gets quite saturated, because there are so many of them as well.
That's true.
Maybe. Yeah. Excellent. Well, what do you guys think of Callum's festival?
I'm down.
Okay.
I've never seen the Mountain Goats, and I would like to, so
Mm.
I'm there.
Yeah, awesome.
Sweet. Jack, the time is yours. Who's playing your festival? And what's it called?
I named my festival. I named my festival The Cat's Pajamas.
Nice.
I wanted to have a name that a strange name. I'm a strange guy. And Colin, I'm sure you could guess in one guess where I'm going to put this festival.
Oh, I imagine it'll be New Cross.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll get there in 20 minutes, and it's going to be right there. And my opener, considering you brought up that Signature Brew show, my opener is going to be Chloe Glover.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I heard Chloe's music for the first time at that show, and I was like, this is awesome. I think Charlotte knew her already and was pals with her, and yeah, she was great. And I'm always watching out for what she's doing. She's so nice, and definitely Chloe Glover opening that show. My next one was my band that has only been together a couple of years. Adam Dre of Pistickables. He in the last few years he started like a surf rock punk band called Harsh Buzz, and he sent me the demos when they recorded them before they put them on Spotify, and I was like, this is sick, this is so good. And they haven't they must have only played one or two shows since they formed, and then the apocalypse happened, and so 100% Harsh Buzz, because they're well good, and I hope they, when everything gets back to normal, I hope they can get some more shows out there. They've got some stuff on Spotify.
Were they supposed to play the Triple Sunday and Friends show?
I think so.
That had like a load of sort of newish bands that are friends with Triple Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that looked like such a good time, but obviously the apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, they were great. I remember messaging him. This is really, really good. And he's playing drums. Dre's playing drums in that band. Yeah.
He played guitar in Pistickables, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But his first instrument, as far as I was drums. He used to be in a band called from Dartford. They were called Bear Trap. He used to play drums for them. And they were like a kind of like, they sounded a bit like Every Time I Die or something like that. And yeah, he played drums. That's when I first knew him. That's what he was doing. So as far as I know, he's predominantly a drummer.
Oh.
Yeah. My next band's got to be Leadshot Hazard.
Excellent.
They're our too many members compadres. In Leadshot Hazard, and I love playing gigs. Those gigs where you're playing when there's a bunch of your mates on the lineup. That's what we get from Leadshot, and it's we'll have our merch stands next to each other, and it's always so pally, and suddenly you feel like a mob. There's 20 of you. This is my North American band. I was going for Millington.
Oh.
I was going for Millington. We got to know Cody just recently from Millington, and talked about the one day Millington will be able to come over and play at New Cross Inn. So I've given him that chance in my imagination for Millington to come over. But
Did they recently release like an emo ska album or something?
Yes, they did, with some of their Call Me Malcolm guys on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, although it threw up into a matter of debate of what counts as emo and what doesn't. which is an argument we have within Just Say Nay fairly often. And me and Charlotte are firmly in the camp that My Chemical Romance are not an emo band. And there are other members that will say they 100% are, and it's progression of the genre. But I mean, they're not. They're not.
What would you describe them as then?
They're a pop punk band. They're a moody pop punk band.
A moody pop punk band.
Yeah. But I could go on for ages about this, so we better move on.
That's a whole. I'm going to write that down as a podcast idea.
Yeah, you need to get Charlotte on for that one, and possibly Jordan from Skiv.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get him on at some point.
So my next band is my reunion band, and this I jumped back and forth for ages about this because it was out of two bands. And in the end, I went for Farce. I love Farce, and I every few months I pester Paul. I was like, "Can you try and get Farce?" And he says he's tried it, but it can't be done. It cannot be done. And I was listening to Farce, sort of really like as a kid, like first beginning to get into ska punk and things like that, and Farce were one of the first bands I really got into of that genre, and always tried to imitate the style of vocals and things, and in bands we would cover Farce songs and things like that, and so out of everyone, Farce were my reunion band. I pay a stupid amount of money to see Farce, as I never got to.
Yeah, KEMF, she picked Farce for her reunion band as
Oh,
well when she did this.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I'd love to see them every time it comes up. It was between Farce and Five Knuckle, but yeah, it had to be Farce this time. My mainland Europe band was Jay the Cat.
Yes.
I hope that counts.
Yeah, they're based in Holland, aren't they?
They're sort of, and I think they came from Boston originally, but I know they live in Amsterdam.
Oh, that counts.
Yeah, that's what I
That
thought.
counts.
I'm glad you're with me on that one. And they've had member changes through the years, so I can only assume that they're finding those extra members from around that area.
Yeah, Popes the Chili Town have a Brazilian member now, don't they? You wouldn't say they're from Brazil, so.
Congrats, Popes. My next band, another one similar to the vein of Farce, is King Prawn. I had to go for King Prawn. King Prawn is one of those bands for me, like the same as Farce. Like as I was growing up, would be the bands that got me into sort of ska punk and ska and everything that branches off. In fact, I was so young. I remember being driven to school in the mornings and getting my mum to put on King Prawn albums in the car to listen to on the drive to school. So much so that when they reformed and played at New Cross Inn, I rang up my mum, was like, King Prawn playing at New Cross Inn. She's like, get me a ticket. And she came and she knew all the tunes and went ballistic, which was nice. She's into them as much as me.
They're one of those bands I don't think I really appreciated enough until they came back and I got to see them live.
Yeah. Yeah. And, they pop up so often. I think they first came back and it was Boomtown.
Yeah. About 2013-ish, wasn't it? I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It feels like they've been back a while now, but
yeah. Right. So, who's Jack's headliner?
You'll never guess.
Will I not? Oh. I don't know. It's that sarcasm. In my head, I got one idea, but I feel like I should let Beth and Callum have a go as well.
Okay. Do you have any clues?
Yeah, they're from Wales.
Oh, I don't have a clue.
They're from Wales.
Okay, and they've got to be like obscenely massive for New Cross Inn.
Yes.
Welsh bands.
Manic Street Preachers? They're pretty big.
It's a good guess. It's not Manic Street Preachers.
See, I was going down the world of like stereophonics.
Oh, there you
What other bands are from Wales? What kind of genre do they play?
If I say it, will give it away.
Oh.
Is it a band or a solo act?
It's a band.
I'm assuming it's not a ska band,
No.
so it's not Adequate 7. Oh,
Shall I tell you?
yes, please.
Yeah. So I picked this band. I've seen them a bunch of times. They are one of my favourite bands of all time. And I think seeing them in New Cross Inn would be absolutely mental.
Oh.
Oh. We're never going to know.
No!
What a cliffhanger.
Man. Oh, there's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, come back. What's going on there?
He's gone. He's just
Well,
disappeared.
that's upsetting.
What's going on?
That's hilarious.
Who do we think it was? We have to
I really
fill
have
now.
no idea who that is.
Feeder? Are they from Wales?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
That would be good at New Cross as well. Is Jack coming back?
No sign of him. Maybe he doesn't realise he's gone. Maybe he's still just talking to the screen.
I hope not.
Yeah, Feeder are from Newport, yeah. Could be
Oh,
Feeder.
are you Googling it? That feels like cheating at a pub quiz.
Ah, well, I was just checking to see if they were Welsh. He was about to tell us anyway. So it's like,
That's true.
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Jack.
That was
Hello. That was a
the
cliffhanger.
internet just had a moment. It's like a fucking show moment, wasn't it? I picked Skindred.
Oh, nice.
I picked Skindred. Their live show is phenomenal, and I've seen them a bunch of times. Benji Webb is a phenomenal performer, and I'd very much enjoy seeing that at New Cross Inn.
Oh, my heart's going now. That was far too exciting.
Much tension.
That's
I
just,
did do that on purpose. I promise.
like, if I like clip a bit of this podcast now to put as an advert, that's the moment.
Yeah, glad I could help.
Jack disappearing and then fear in our faces, or my face. Right, so who's cover band? Who's playing it?
Well, like Beth, I invented a band. And I invented a Rage Against the Machine cover band.
Nice.
So I thought, who from like the scene, you know, am I going to use for this band? You need a powerhouse drummer, so I picked Tom Maples from King Punch to play drums in my Rage Against the Machine cover band. On bass, this is where it got tricky, but I picked Trev from Call Me Malcolm to play bass. On guitar, I picked Ollie from Tyrannosaurus Alan to play guitar in my Rage Against the Machine cover band.
Nice.
I think Ollie definitely got that that energy needed there. And for vocals, I mean, this is something I've always wanted to do, so I was going to sing it myself.
Nice.
And I felt happy when Beth, you put yourself on your line with your festival, and I was like, oh, that's good. I feel calmer about my choice now. Now someone else has put themselves on the lineup, but I didn't put Just Say Lay on there. But I'd love to be in a Rage Against the Machine cover band. So
What would you call the cover band?
Oh, who knows?
I need a good pun-based Rage Against the Machine.
A good pun.
Name. Yeah. Just to put you on the spot.
I can't do it.
Okay. Well, if you've got one, write it in the comments. That's what the people
I'll
on the
write
internet
it in the comments. Yeah, I'll get it. I'll be back to you in about 3 days for that.
say. So that's what my evening doing now, thinking of band for that band name. That looks like an incredibly sweaty day. That lineup, Jack.
Yeah,
It looks exhausting.
it certainly does, doesn't it?
Yeah. I like how you started like really like soft and acoustic, and then just gone. By the time you get to the end, you're on skin dudes.
Yeah, I mean, I often put acoustic openers, and I even was like, I don't know why I'm doing that, because you don't need to, and I still did it, but you know, you can put Chloe anywhere on that lineup you wanted.
Yeah, she would smash it anyway.
Yeah.
The trouble with like putting on like an all day when you've got so many great bands, someone does have to open.
Yeah, they do. I don't know, it's that thing, the soft acoustic thing is people are coming, oh, this is nice, and people are like greeting each other and coming in. I don't know, it's a strange, I guess
it eases people into the day, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it gives the sound person an easy start to the day.
Yeah.
Before you've got like an afternoon of ska.
Yeah.
So, I bet every sound person you've ever played for hates you. With your 15 members or whatever you've got.
We try and be kind, like you know, mostly it's all right. People, you know, you do see the occasional look of fear, or yeah, it depends. If you've got a more seasoned sound engineer, it's more of a kind of like, oh, for God's sake, like you know, festival sound engineers know where they're at. They get a little cross of us sometimes, as we don't always listen, and we'll just chat amongst ourselves. It's like herding cats. Just saying, for anyone trying to get involved. But yeah, we've definitely seen some people get worried, and so we try and bring as much stuff as we can to make it easy. Stage sheets, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, all three of those festivals are looking like a fantastic time. Like, if you can't do Callum and Jax on the same day because you're both sharing Xandro, but
he wouldn't mind.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, thank you for playing this game. We're going to put.
Well, I mean, if it's you know, on different times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wales, New Cross. It's quite close.
He's a resourceful guy.
Yeah. Right, Beth. Flinch advert. I nearly forgot.
Oh yeah.
Because I wrote it on my other page.
Yeah. But buy my record, please. I wrote a record and then I recorded it and then I paid somebody to put it onto vinyl, which was a stupid idea. And now I've got 300 vinyls arriving in the post, and they're probably gonna be in my attic forever. So buy a record. If it makes it over from, it's getting pressed in Europe somewhere. So who knows if it'll make it over the border thanks to Brexit. But
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. You just have to look on the internet for when it arrives, because I'm not going to jinx it by putting a date on it. Just gonna, one day it'll be here, and hopefully 300 people will buy it, because I don't want to have to pay a storage space to keep them in.
What does Flinch sound like for anyone who doesn't know?
That's a good question.
Thanks.
People have said Phoebe Bridgers, people have said Camera Obscura, people have said, what have people said? Yeah, I'm not really sure what it sounds like.
I said Muncie Girls when I spoke about it for Hidden Gems.
My favourite one that somebody said. Basically, it's lots of sad songs about being in lockdown and not being able to make music with your pals. And it's got like ridiculous Casio keyboard sounding drum machine and lots of big open chords and reverb and me singing. So
did you play everything on there?
Yeah, Hugh, who's the drummer in 10am, produced it, and he does a little bit. There's like a guitar solo and a couple of like little extra bits from him, but other than that it's all me and the drum machine. So.
I am looking forward to my copy arriving.
Hopefully it will arrive I mean, it's supposed to be the 8th of March was the date that they're supposed to arrive. So to arrive to me, so then I can get them to other people. But who knows?
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Right, what else we got? Anything Toodles are up to that we can talk about?
No, not really. We're playing a live stream on Wednesday, as you pointed out. This might not be up by then, so you can retrospectively go and watch that on the Exchange YouTube channel.
Awesome. We'll do that. I miss watching Toodles. Yeah. You were one of my favourite acts because that Do It Together Fest. My first time seeing you full band, and that was one of my highlights of the day. Of a day of very
that was a
many
really fun
highlights.
Yeah, that was a really good day. But otherwise we're just kind of like working on songs very slowly. Luckily we've got our own dedicated crackle bass that we get to use that no one else uses, so it's kind of like means that we're a little bit less cagey about getting together and doing some songwriting, but it's still difficult. But yeah, we got like 2 in the bank, so there's going to be a release this year at some point, but I can't say when.
Cool. And Dom from your band is doing the Sweet Chili Mayo stuff as well, which has all been fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good, and I think it's like keeping him busy as well, which is nice. But yeah, Dom's actually basically like he's doing a master's in music production at the moment, so he's producing most of our songs that we're recording and writing and recording at the moment. So that's also another way that it's just like, oh, this is actually like not, at least for us, is not the worst situation in the world. We can still kind of like get together and do stuff.
Awesome. He did the I forgot what it's called. The second release you put out last year with like the remixes. Dom did a lot of that, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did those. Yeah, he did all of those. Yeah, and he pretty much played every instrument on them as well. I think I did some guitar and vocals, and then Max did some piano, and then Dom did 3 extra guitars and instrumentation. Like percussion and like loads and loads of other stuff. And it was just totally ridiculous. And I was like, and I think it kind of drove him kind of nuts because he was just like, oh yeah, this is great. I can put everything into this and just make it completely like, I don't know. I just didn't think that he was going to go as far in with it as he did. But yeah, it sounded really good. So
yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Lost his mind while he was doing it.
And you need to keep busy during these fun times we're living in now. Hence why exactly. This podcast exists.
Yeah. There was a point where he was like messaging me about these different like cardboard boxes that he was using, because he was basically like, oh, let's do it without using any traditional instruments that we would usually use. So he used loads of weird percussion things. And he was like, what do you think about the tone of this particular cardboard box? I was like,
wow. That's like in the credits, like who played the cardboard box.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So what else? Like the CPRW podcast, we've been very productive. Another podcast got recorded earlier today, which is actually coming out after this one, because who does things in sequence? But it's a special one. I'm not actually on. It's Robin and Lara the lead on this one. It's a special podcast for International Women's Day, which is going to be released on International Women's Day, which is on Monday, March the 8th. And they had guests Katie MF and Chera Williams, who does Shout Louder. On that, they've been talking about like their personal experiences being women in punk, and like positive and negative experiences. The female artists and band members who they first encountered, which is why we were talking about Avril Lavigne recently, and like how like influential like women. I don't know how these people were influential in representing women in punk rock, and also they spoke about the ways the scene has changed and what's improved and what else needs to be done to make it better for women and all minority people. So look out for that on March the 8th. And I've been hard at work on CPRW Records as well, because I have so much free time at the moment because I can't go to New Cross. So we're working on our next 2 releases. One's due out in April and the other one in June. So keep an eye on all our socials for them. You can check out all of Best Bands on Facebook and Bandcamp and
Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. Grave Matthews isn't on Facebook, it's only on Instagram and Spotify.
Okay. So that's doing Grave Matthews, 10 a.m. and Flinch.
And Slowlight.
And Slowlight.
I think that's it.
I think I've seen Slowlight before. Did Slowlight book your own fest at some point?
Yeah, 3 years ago or something. Ages ago.
Oh.
3 years ago. Yeah.
If you don't know, like I've mentioned it a couple of times, but Your Own Fest is like a DIY festival in Dundee put together by the Make That a Take collective, and like they're some of the very best people in the whole world of punk rock. And check out their like Bandcamp and stuff, and throw them some money because they're currently closed, so they could do with your support. And check out Just Say Nay on all the stuff as well.
Yeah, all the stuff.
All the stuff. And
Really.
look out for some new merch as well, I guess.
Yeah. Stuff's being drawn.
Stuff being drawn. Who's doing the art, can you say?
It was someone that Mikey and Thornton kind of found together. A guy from LA somewhere. They found him on Instagram and like this guy. So we just kind of like, cool, that guy. That looks awesome. So
It sounds like a fine ship you're running there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This guy. I'll tag his name up when I find it.
Awesome. And also, I don't think I've said this to you yet. Congratulations to you and Charlotte on your upcoming new member of JSN, we'll say.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's my plan is unfolding of basically Just Saying I never ever stops. And when I'm too old and decrepit, I'm just going to replace each member with our children. So hopefully my daughter, I'm having a girl. My daughter will want to take up that mantle. So we're hoping for to raise a fierce punk rock lady. So, but no, like she'll just be into like drum and bass, and she'll punk rock.
just incorporate that into the sound somehow.
Yeah. She can take it her own way, and I won't micromanage it at all.
Awesome. And Callum, you have Toodles is on all the stuff as well?
Yeah, we're on all the stuff. It's at Toodles Band on everything basically.
And you'd also recommend books, I'm assuming not just to Emma, but to you have a newsletter or something.
Yeah, I do have a newsletter. It's called Out of the Silent Attic, and it's on Tiny Letter. So recommending books on that. And also working at a bookshop in Bristol called Storysmith. So if you want book recommendations, you can also email us there.
Awesome. Right. I think we're finished. Unless anyone's got anything else they want to add. Oh, someone does.
This is my stepchildren. I thought they'd make an appearance at some point. Sounds like they're having an argument. But yeah, there you go. That's what I want to add.
Oh my. Should we? Okay, well, thank you all for coming and hanging out. Thank you, Beth, for letting us use proper Zoom today. Very exciting. I'm rubbish at ending these. I never know what to say. Just stay safe. It seems like a cliche thing to say now, but do that. Wear masks and look after each other and support DIY music. Look for DIY labels to support, DIY venues to support. Read Colin's Punk Rock World. That'd be nice. And look at the CPRW Records Bandcamp page that has lots of stuff on there now, all raising money for loads of really worthy charities who could do with your support. Yeah, thanks again to you guys for hanging out. And
thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording now before I continue rambling. Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Okay.